The baby ducks decided to come watch the show.
Yeah, you guys gotta keep moving so the baby's up.
I think I need to turn up just a little bit.
Cool.
That's what I say. It's been so long. We haven't like all been together
Oh, that's
and
cool.
played. Yeah. You guys see my sisters again?
That's why we should.
Spotify or anything, find us on there. It's at the New Crowds.
It's a no.
It's like your guys.
For the no, man. No, that's mine.
You have to give him back.
That's mine. I had plans for my dashboard already. I should have known.
You should have known.
Is there a story here? Do we get Sam?
Sam just wanted to perform with the performers.
If you want to sign it, you can sign it.
Yeah. We can sign up with Sam.
We can sign up.
I'll sign Sam later.
Was it Uncle Sam?
I think he wants us. Okay. Do we even have anyone watching?
Yeah, there's like
Hello.
there are like 8 people right now, and everybody out here.
Yeah.
Well, they got the front row, so they're lucky. You're lucky.
We only get the back behind.
Yeah,
you.
like,
I mean, I would get tired out here, but tired is all
go
I
in
go
there and get my pink sweater.
How was your day there?
It was great.
It's not
I
loud.
got here late because I was working, and I got one of those calls at work. It was like 15 minutes longer than it should.
How are we playing this one?
Good. I actually like that.
Alright, I just did a social request.
sunshine when she's gone. Every day.
Roll call.
Yeah, I'm gonna be super professional. Just keep consulting my phone for little things.
Go for it.
Do it. Another original. If you guys don't know us, we're a band called the New Crowns from Sacramento, and we play a lot of original music. We're just kind of playing what we think we like. But this is an original song. It's called "This Old Theme."
All right, thank you everyone again for joining our stream this week. Happy Friday. This is put on by Rogers Urban Farm Lab and the UC Global Food Initiative. And so today we will be doing so we're going to be focusing on actually one of our fellows here at the UC Global Food Initiative. I am Lindsay Johnson, the student ambassador for the UC Global Food Initiative, and we have two fellows, and one of them is Will, and he will be presenting here for us today. His research specializes in mushrooms and growing mushrooms from compost and efficient ways of doing that sustainably. And today he's going to teach us about small-scale mushroom farming or urban mushroom farming. So I'm going to go ahead and give the spotlight to Will. And yeah.
Hello. How's everyone doing? Can everyone hear me? All right.
We can hear you, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So I'm Will. I am the GFI fellow here at UCSD, and I specialize in growing edible mushrooms. And I usually do this with coffee grounds. I take like a campus waste source, and I use that as my substrate to grow the mushrooms from. So that basically allows me to take the food waste and turn it directly back into food. And so it's a really cool way to not only combine some of the environmental aspects of mushroom cultivation, but also create a like self-sustaining process where you can sell the mushrooms and fund labor in order to do all the work necessary here. So I'm just going to get into some of the basic equipment I use and some of the basic methods that I use to, grow mushrooms here on a small scale. So let me flip my camera and I'll kind of do a little brief rundown of just some of the basic parts. Let me flip the other way. So over here is kind of like my substrate bagging and pasteurization area. So I have this steel barrel that I use to basically steam my straw or immerse it in hot water. And so the purpose of that is to basically pasteurize and kill most of the like contaminant microorganisms on your straw or your coffee grounds. Because if you were to leave those in there, those would basically grow and compete with your fungus, and it might prevent your fungus from growing. So it's just a steel barrel. It's got a little locking ring, but I don't really use it. It's just to keep the lid secure. But yeah, just a plain old barrel. It's a little bit rusty because it's not a stainless steel one. It'd be really nice to have a stainless steel barrel so that it doesn't rust, because you do get a little bit of the iron in the substrate. But since iron is not like a heavy metal, it's sort of a beneficial nutrient. It's probably not too bad. But then over here, I actually have some substrate pasteurizing, and this is a third method that I use to pasteurize the straw. And it's basically a barrel full of water, and I add about a cup of pickling lime, also known as calcium hydroxide. So it's a really strong base, and what it does is it increases the pH of the straw when you dunk it in there, and that basically stunts a lot of the growth of any of the microorganisms. So that basically accomplishes the same task as heating it with steam or immersing it in hot water. So then basically, once that's done, I'll take it over to that area. That's like my general spawning and mixing table. And then over in these barrels, I usually keep my dry straw that I've shredded. I've shredded into small pieces to make it a little easier for the mushroom to digest. And so I use like a electric wood chipper that I keep over in the solar shed. It's actually broken at the moment because I got a piece of twine or wire stuck in there, and so I need to remove it, take it apart, and fix it. So in the meantime, I've actually been using a weed whacker and one of those plastic barrels, and that actually it works pretty well. I mean, I've kind of made the weed whacker smoke a little bit and heat up pretty hot, so I kind of have to like take a pause in between using it and let it cool down and stop smoking. So that's kind of preventing me from doing a lot more large scale stuff. But at this point in time, there's not really a point to growing a whole bunch of mushrooms, so I've kind of been taking a break. But so this is my spawning table. It's just a aluminum window screen actually, and I've just stretched it across these two pieces, and I've got a few pieces of plastic to just raise the sides up a little bit, prevent me from spilling any straw. So I'll basically take out the straw from those barrels. They're actually in these little I use these paint strainer bags over here. They just get them at Home Depot. They're actually used for like filtering paint. And so they'll fit over like a 5-gallon bucket, and you can fill these with your dry straw and then just dunk it in the water bath, just like a normal tea bag, and then you'll just leave it in there for a day or two. Usually I do about 24 hours or 12 hours. And then you just take it out, and then you're going to just bring it over here and then let it drain, or take it out of the bag and let it drain to get a lot of that excess moisture out. And then here are some bags that I did today. So I primarily use this like polyethylene tubing. It comes in a giant roll. And so I have a little like funnel, and I'll cut lengths of this plastic to however long I want. When we go into the greenhouse, I'll show you how long you can cut these tubes. So I'll basically fill that, or actually, I missed a step. How you doing? So basically, what you'll do is you'll spread your straw out. I actually just bagged this, so I still have a little bit of the straw here. So you'll basically shred the straw, or let the straw drain, and then you'll mix in your mushroom spawn. So that basically comes in a bag from usually a supplier, and they're these little pellets of seed. And I think you've probably seen, if you've watched this live stream before, we did an episode the other day about mushroom cultivation, so you should be able to see the little pieces of the spawn that are left over. So then after you've mixed that together, you'll basically just bag it up. I use steel cable to tie it up, and then also it makes it easier to hang these up in my greenhouse once I take them in there. These are actually going to a different greenhouse tomorrow. We made these special pink oyster mushroom bags because we have a really nice warm temperature greenhouse that we're going to experiment growing these pink oysters in, because they really thrive in a much warmer climate. They can actually tolerate temperatures of like 90 Fahrenheit, so pretty subtropical, and they look really cool too. So now take a look at the greenhouse itself. Open it up, which will give you the full view of it. Can back up. So that's the front of it. It's made from all recycled materials that I basically just salvaged around campus. Usually I got a bunch of pallets. There's a bunch of extra material left over from a lot of other projects here in the garden. So as you can see, that's the tallest column right there. That goes pretty much all the way to the ceiling, which is about 7 to 8 feet. So that's about a 7-foot column right there. And so I did this on April 14th, and this is Amicel 3015. So this is their strain of oyster mushroom that a lot of cultivators use, because you can buy it in a 20-pound giant bag and then inoculate over several hundred pounds of straw using just one bag. So they're honestly probably the best company to buy spawn from in large quantities if you're trying to do a commercial scale grow. I haven't been maintaining this greenhouse as much as I should, just because I haven't needed to, sell mushrooms or give them away. I mostly give it to volunteers or people who drop by their compost when I'm here. So take a look at some of these mushrooms. This log is fruiting pretty much from top to bottom. These should probably get harvested after this live stream ends, because they're almost gonna go bad. The caps have completely unfurled. They've achieved their fullest length. And so we got some smaller ones over here. Those are some tiny pins. So those will basically grow to the size of those full-size mushrooms in the next couple days or so. So just some smaller ones. Here are a few bigger ones over here that are growing. And so I haven't been spraying water in here or keeping it humid. It's just kind of I've just kind of let the bags naturally fruit at their own rhythm and pace. But it's been really interesting to see. I have a bunch of different bags that have different compositions of substrate. So this one right here is just a plain straw bag, actually. But this one over here is actually, I did this out of eucalyptus chips and maybe a little bit of straw. There should be a label on here. Let's see if I can find that. I don't know, maybe the mushrooms, maybe it's on that side, maybe the mushrooms covered it up. So it actually grew a very sizable oyster mushroom on the eucalyptus. And eucalyptus is a notorious wood in that it's very difficult to break down. It's very rot resistant to a lot of fungus. So usually mushrooms like this may have a hard time growing on a wood like this, but that's a sizable mushroom. That's almost as big as my hand right there. And another one down here. I believe this one's also, wow, look at that. That's also from the eucalyptus. I did 2 bags. And that's as tall as my hand. It's bigger than my hand. So wow, I'm gonna have to harvest that today. So there's quite a few very nice mushrooms in here, kind of just growing on their own. Eventually, I'd really like to get better at timing my harvest, like being able to get all the bags to fruit at one time. So if I have someone who needs like a large order of mushrooms fast or all in one go, then I can fulfill that just by learning how to time my like schedules. This is a bag of Hydroxide. I actually got this at a San Diego Mushroom Mycological Society workshop they had. It's kind of past its prime. I think it's kind of going bad in this corner, but I got quite a few. I got at least 3 or 4 decent sized lion's mane or Hydroxide mushrooms. They're about that big, and they're made of little like teeth, downward icicle looking teeth, and so it just forms a nice little ball. And so it's kind of like kind of got the texture of cauliflower, so it's an interesting mushroom to eat. But yeah, I have about, I don't know, a couple dozen bags, but they're all pretty decent sized. I started off kind of making them small because I found these racks and I decided to use them. But seeing as I can make these bags all the way from top to bottom, and I can basically put some of the weight of these columns on the floor and then some of them on these little metal poles that I got in the rafters. So that'll basically allow me to not put too much weight on the structure itself and have some of the weight supported on the ground just so I don't break my structure. I'm a little bit worried about about how exactly strong it is. I definitely don't want to be hanging like 1 ton of these bags on it. So that is why I want to use the cable or use the plastic itself to tie these off on the roof and have about half the weight supported on the ground, or most of the weight supported on the ground actually, and then just use the tether to keep them vertical. So that's been that. I think I pretty much covered everything. I actually have, when I first started out, I was using that as my mixer. I would use just plain coffee grounds and then mix the spawn. But since I switched to the straw, it's been a little bit harder to like use that mixer and use a large quantity of substrate at one go. So let me close this back up. And I'll show you actually what I got the other day. So this is what the calcium hydroxide looks. I'm just storing it in this makeshift container. So it's called hydrated lime, and you want to get the if you want to do this yourself, you're going to want to get the high calcium version. Other limes often have too high of a magnesium content, and so I've read that actually inhibits mushroom growth. So you want to get the high calcium hydrated lime. And so since this stuff is pretty basic, it's a strong base. You want to wear a mask when you deal with this. And I ordered this large 50-pound sack, but you can actually get this at most like Mexican supermarkets. It's actually used for making tortillas. It helps the dough stick together. And so you can actually get buy it in small packets at a lot of stores. So if you want to try this technique, it's a pretty easy method to pasteurize mushroom substrate without having to heat it. So there's that, and that basically concludes my live stream. Let me flip it around. Oh, my bad. Wrong button. There we go. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys soon for another episode of the Rogers Urban Farm Lab mushroom growing.
All right, thank you so much, Will.
Very welcome.
Have a good Friday. Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We put out videos. We have a live stream every Friday. This coming live stream is actually going to be a bit of a bigger one. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we're going to have a series of music and workshops. And you can find all of this information on our Instagram, our Facebook, and we will be submitting things with the AS organization. But if you want to know our Instagram and check out other initiatives and things that we do at the UC Global Food Initiative, the name of it is UCSD GFI, and we also have a Facebook at UCOP Global Food Initiative at UCSD. You can follow us there. We do have these live streams, but we also have other content that we like to put out and keep you guys updated with research and different things that have to do with food. So come check us out. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great Friday. Next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great Friday.